Hello everybody, it's Simon, and this is a picnic for Clavier, Clav Edu. So we're going to be talking about education, and we're going to be talking about primary education, and we're going to be talking about physical education. Over here we have Rob, and Rob, he's going to be speaking to us about his experience of training and preparing to be a teacher in the UK. So Rob, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Okay, hi guys, my name is Robert Shaw. I am 26 years old, a little bit older than some of the students who are currently studying an undergrad at the University of Plymouth in the southwest of England. I am studying on a B.Ed primary education course, specialising in physical education, with the hope and aspirations of becoming a primary school teacher in a few years' time.
Right, Rob, great. Can you tell us a bit about what B.Ed means?
Okay, a B.Ed is a type of degree, and it's called a Bachelor of Education. And we can get different kinds of degrees over here. And this degree, instead of it being it's a first step, you would kind of say, towards gaining the accreditation you need to become a teacher. There's various routes into becoming a teacher, and this academic study of this 3-year course allows you to go into becoming a teacher straight away. There's another option you can do, maybe an MA or a BA, and these are Bachelor of the Arts kind of courses, degree courses, but then you would have to specialise in something. So you may do a BA in psychology, for example, and then decide, actually, I want to use some of my psychology and degree, or not use my degree, and actually I want to go into the aspects of teaching. And you would a postgraduate course, which is a 1-year certification, and this will then, you do that in education, and that will then allow you to teach in the UK. There's various routes into becoming a teacher. To be a teacher with a Bachelor of Education, that is the preferred route to being a teacher if you're a prospective school and you're looking for teachers. And you have a look at their degree on their CV, and you'll say, oh, Bachelor of Education. Their whole degree has all been about how to teach, learning to teach, and why they want to teach. It's all about teaching.
Okay, so does that mean that you can become a teacher after 3 years?
Yeah, the Bachelor of Education degree used to be over 4 years, but recently Plymouth University, and I think across the country, they've let us sync some of the course, so now it's only 3 years, and this gives us qualification of the degree, but also gives this QTS status, which is called Qualification Teaching Standards, or Qualification Teaching Status, and this status allows us then to be a teacher. So we don't have any tests within our education course, but along the way we we submit essays, and this is how we gain credits towards us becoming getting our QTS certificate, and also getting a degree in the Bachelor of Education.
So your Bachelor of Education enables you to become a teacher immediately?
It does, yeah. It's a quick route, I guess, in a way to becoming a teacher. It's a general kind of qualification, and it's all about education.
Okay. Does that mean that after you've got your degree, you have a year teacher training or teacher practice or probationary year, or are you qualified as a teacher immediately?
Okay, upon receiving your QTS, which is your certificate, your pass, after you've completed your 3 years of education, you'll then go into a period called NQT time, which is newly qualified teacher status, which is your probation year. So you'll get a job in a school, and you'll have your NQT year, and this year will be full of observations in a school, and full of folder work, which you'll be assessed by the school, and then ultimately your folder will be sent away and be looked at by outsiders. And then you'll be if everything goes according to plan, you will then be given NQT status, and that qualifies you as a teacher. You can teach anywhere you want to, and then you can take your qualifications. You can teach abroad in international schools, or you can stay within the remits of the UK and teach in England, Scotland, or Wales.
Okay, so that means that when you're doing your NQTS, so that's new teacher, new qualified teacher year,
Mhm.
do you teach a full-time contract or do you teach less hours?
Okay. As an NQT, you will teach. You'll have your own class. You'll be just as enabled as any teacher in that school. So you will be a fully qualified teacher, really, but with the caveat of an NQT holds over you. So you will be teaching the full amount of hours Monday to Friday each week. And just like every teacher, you'll get PPA time, which is time for you to plan your activities and lessons. Everyone gets 25. Well, they get. I think it's worked out as 25% of, or up to 25% of a calendar week. That usually equates to being about half a day. During the week, you'll be able to take half a day out of the classroom to then plan for your weeks. On top of that, as an NQT, you'll get an extra half a day to do your NQT work and to get up to speed with the requirements of planning and teaching in your first year, and also the contributions you need to make towards your file and getting yourself that NQT status.
Okay, so if we come back a bit, you chose to be to follow studies, undergraduate studies, to be in a B.Ed,
Mm-hmm.
and you were a bit older than other students. So why did you decide to do that? Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, that's fine. Before starting my course last year in 2014, so I'm in my second year of studies now after 3 years, I spent 5 years in the armed forces. I was a part of the Royal Navy, and my job role was on board the nuclear submarines. So I was part of the submarine service. And after 5 years, I decided, upon meeting my partner, that I will take a step in a new direction. And that the next 15, 20 years, probably being in the forces and going away and spending copious amounts of times underwater, wasn't probably going to be good towards family life and a healthy relationship. So I decided to redirect and train and get myself a new career, a new lifestyle, and I chose teaching.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's a radical change.
It is.
And teaching for you, did you have a particular interest in teaching before you chose that?
Um, I would say I definitely did. I mean, from the age of 9, I used to swim 4 to 5 hours a day. Till I was about 20, I was a competitive swimmer. I've swam at the top level. I've won national championships back in 2008. Actually, the year I stopped, I I was at under 18 British 200-meter breaststroke champion. So for me, swimming and sport has always been a part of my life, and helping others as well. Teaching maybe perhaps in swimming, or even the need to actually play a diverse range of sports, always been on my mind. And I think it's always been with me. I think teaching, it's kind of coming, it's hand in hand, I think, with sport, and it's something that works really well together. And I think if you're passionate about sport or physical activity, you should then be able to then pass on your knowledge, understanding, and you can harness that with some good guidance from others, and you can be a good teacher.
So can you just confirm what I understood? So you were 200-meter breaststroke champion of the UK?
Yes, back in, I think it was April 2007, in Manchester. I think I won the British Championships for 200-meter breaststroke.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. So yeah, we have in Clermont-Ferrand, we have a lot of high-level sports people and many swimmers. So that's something which I'm sure they'd be interested in. Okay, so you came to teaching late. You were interested and motivated to do that. Other students in your course, so I suppose they're younger,
Yeah,
do they all have motivation to be teachers? They are really motivated to be teachers?
yeah, I think the way the education system works in the UK is, well, we have to pay £9,000 a year to go to university. So the motivation now for you to do something with your degree is greater than it's ever been, and to be so narrow with your choice of choosing a B.Ed, an education program, which is directed at primary teaching specifically, which is the title of the degree. If you want to be a teacher, you get yourself in this course, and it's narrow focus, and it's probably once you've got this degree, you can do stuff with it, but the majority of people will go straight into teaching.
Okay. How many students do you have then in your second year?
Okay. In my second year, we have roughly 150 students.
Okay.
We started with 180 to 190, but I think a few have dropped out due to personal reasons, or them they're not wanting, or they're realizing that actually this course is right for them and they do not want to be a teacher.
Okay. Can you tell us a little about your program, your university program? Can you a typical week or a typical month or a typical term?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, in Plymouth University, we've recently just gone to a semester kind of timetable now. Instead of us having, it was split into modules, and we had different modules throughout the whole year. It's much more structured now to go in line with exam periods. So now across the whole university works off a semester one and a semester two. So we're just approaching the end of semester one, and I believe at the start of February we'll be starting our semester two, which will run us up to the summer. And within these semesters, we have blocks of work or units. We call them modules. So in semester one, I just completed EMIX 512, which stands for Education, Maths and ICT. So that was Maths and ICT, that was a module. And we had assignments and coursework to do for that. And alongside that, we also had another module. And in semester two, I'm about to start just now, we're going to be starting our specialism. So I'm going to be doing a module in PE teaching for my second year. So it's called a PE specialist module. And I'm going to do that alongside an English and science module. And the other one would be education studies. So it's quite broad, and we'll be looking at education studies and pedagogy, etc. And we've just come off the back in semester one of looking at our foundation subjects. So these are more general teaching subjects. Say, for example, geography, history, design, technology, art. So we get a broad range of courses fitting into our modules, and they're structured well to equate us into becoming a rounded teacher.
Okay. And how many hours per week do you have in class?
Okay. Well, due to the new semester, it's changed. I mean, most courses at the university, you may see some courses. This B.Ed course really takes a lot of your time up, and we're spending average probably about 5 hours a day at university, maybe sometimes longer, maybe sometimes less, depending on timetable. I would say roughly in a week, we're going to get between 25 and 30 hours of education studies along our degree.
And can you explain a little about your evaluation assessment? How does that work?
Okay, well, we're assessed, well, to get our QTS standard, QTS status, we were assessed before this year started. We were assessed by passing a series of tests at the end of a module, and alongside your coursework, that your coursework would add up towards your degree, and your test scores would either give you a pass and fail to see if you met the requirements of QTS to then go and be a new qualified teacher. But those tests now have been eliminated and they've been pushed aside. So we still do carry out some tests, these QTS tests, but they're more subject knowledge tests, and as they are a requirement, but they're used to help guide us and to catch up on any misconceptions we may have in our subject knowledge before being a teacher. But the majority and the bulk of our degree is all coursework related, and when we go into placements, we get different placements throughout the year, and we get assessed and observed by tutors from the university who come and watch us teach, and they give us a grade, and we reflect on our progress, and we try and get to the caveat of being an outstanding teacher. So we have levels of progression of where we can start from being maybe an unsatisfactory teacher. I think that word's gone now, but requires improvement, for example, and working our way up to being a good teacher and then maybe an outstanding teacher.
Okay, so how many hours or weeks of teacher practice do you do during a term or during a semester?
Okay, well, in year two, we have 2 blocks of teaching placements. So these blocks, we are completely away from university. We have no other modules. We are just focused sheerly on doing our teaching placement. So we get assigned a school and we travel to that school each day, and we become part of that class. So for in year 2, I've already had a 4-week placement in November, in the month of November, to the start of December. So I had a 4-week placement there, and I worked in a school with year 5 children, and I taught a range of lessons throughout the whole curriculum. So I taught foundation subjects, history, art, geography, RE, etc., and taught the maths, English and science and PE, broad range of subjects. And we got ourselves fully immersed in the school, just as like we had a job there for 4 weeks. We were welcomed as a member of staff at that school. And in semester 2, we have a solo placement, which is our first placement, because our other placements in year 1 and 2 have been paired with another teacher. But in year 2, at the end of year 2, we get a chance to go into the school by ourselves, as we are deemed ready to be work alongside a teacher without our pair holding our hand, maybe. And we
so that's in primary.
Yeah, that's in primary schools, and that would be 5-week placement in year 2. So we spend roughly about 9 to 10 weeks in school in our second year, in our degree as well.
Okay, it's quite a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, and once you have become a newly qualified teacher, what percentage of the students who succeed their B.Ed get a job? So of the 150 students, how many of those students will find a job as a newly qualified teacher?
Okay. Well, it's hard to put an exact number on that, but what I can gather, Plymouth University they do quite well in getting teachers who pass the B.Ed program to get themselves a job as their first post. And I would say more than 100 out of the 150 will get a position as a newly qualified teacher, not just in Plymouth, but across the country. There's a lot of people who are getting jobs through the degree program.
Okay, and you apply for a post as newly qualified teacher to a primary school anywhere in the country?
Yeah, you have the option to apply and in any school you want to. So if I wanted to teach somewhere in the UK, anywhere, for example, I could just apply, click of a button, and get myself an interview. And I could be teaching now if I wanted to. It's a free choice of where you would like to go, and where you'd like to have your job, where you'd like to live.
Okay, so it's a completely different system to the one in France. And could you speak a bit about salary?
Okay. So initial teachers, when they start as an NQT, they'll be roughly on be roughly on around £21,000. So I'm assuming that kind of equates to something around 26,000 euros, maybe.
Yeah, so it's about 2,000 euros a month.
Yeah, I would say so. It's probably about
okay.
That. And after your NQT, you'll go up a few thousand, so you may be on 23, 24,000, and it's a progression on through there. And the way pay's now being changed, it went on a rota of every year you did in teaching, you went up a level, but that's stopped now, and the government's realised that it's maybe not the best way to pay individuals or teachers. I don't know quite where I stand on this. It's something which I'll get into, I guess, in my journey of becoming a teacher. But the way it's looking at now is you go and have an annual review, maybe with somebody in your school, and you present everything you've done this year, and they decide, I suppose, with people above them as well, if we're going to pay them judged on what they've done in school. We're going to pay them more money. So you can go up a level that way.
How many hours do teachers in primary teach in the UK?
So Monday to Friday, they'll be teaching. School roughly start around 9 o'clock and in the morning, and it will finish around 3:15 in the afternoon. Teachers usually get into school around about the keen ones, maybe 7 o'clock. Those ones who maybe have got things to do before school, dropping kids off, and they get in a little bit later, maybe towards 8 o'clock. But I would say most teachers, well, the majority of all teachers are in school by 8 o'clock at the very latest, and they'll stay well until maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock, even 6 o'clock, maybe later some days, depending on what they need to do in in the school to prepare themselves for the next day, or if they've got any commitments within the school.
Okay. Could you tell us a little about how you see your job as a primary teacher and as a PE teacher?
Okay. Well, I see the job of a primary school teacher as really important. I read somewhere recently that I think it was Arthur Clarke, and he said something along the lines of doctors save lives and teachers change lives. And that resonated with me quite well. And I thought to myself, yeah, teachers do have a really learn. It's the teacher's job to help them learn. And I think all primary teachers have got a really great responsibility to help children learn in diverse ways. And I think physical education encapsulates the whole child, so you can access children on different kinds of levels and help them learn through movement or through exploring things maybe more educationally or academically.
As a specialist in physical education in primary, because in France it's organized a little differently. That's to say that you have all the primary teachers, as far as I understand it, are the same. They all have to do an element of physical education, but they may also have people who are specialized in sport who come in and they only teach sport. So there are the two aspects in France. For
Yeah.
you, you're specialized in sport. So does that mean that you'll have different activities to other primary teachers, or will it be simply that you have that extra advantage for the school that you have that speciality?
Yeah, well, the BEd program is a generic kind of program that's fed across the whole of the country, and that becomes enables you to become a generalist teacher. And there's not many courses or universities that offer a specialism in a certain subject, particularly in primary school. I mean, in secondary school, where subjects are single subjects, and you have a specialist in PE, physics, and they'll just teach PE, they'll just teach physics. In primary school, there's not much specialism or specializing going on at a university kind of level, which means that as a teacher in a primary school, you are told to teach and you're instructed to teach every subject possible. But with PE as a specialist, adjoined to my degree, that enables me to do to maybe be a coordinator in that school for being for PE, and actually help those teachers who are not that comfortable about teaching PE and help maybe even teach some of those lessons as well. So there's some kind of specialising coordinator roles. For example, there might be one in computing, for example, or English. There'll be those coordinators who are coordinators for the school, and being a specialist at university will enable you to go into that role a lot more easier.
So does that mean, if I come back to your speciality, so a lot of the students in France that I teach, they coach in clubs, football or rugby, etc. With your swimming, is that something you continue to do, or is that something which you stopped and now you are just focusing on teaching and doing maybe general sport?
So can you just repeat that question? Sorry, I just
Yeah.
lost it.
As a high level swimmer,
Yeah.
do you maintain contact with that world, coaching, or is that something which now you don't do?
Well, I've been asked recently, due to my background in swimming, to go into a school and help children swim as a requirement by the end of Key Stage 2, which is our Year 6. So the children who are 11 years old, they're required to swim 25 meters up a swimming pool before they can go on to secondary school. So that's a national requirement. So I've been able to, luckily enough, I've been employed to for a number of weeks to teach children from a certain school to swim 25 meters. But in terms of coaching swimming, that's something that it's more specialised towards gaining a qualification in it, and that comes under the British Association for Swimming. And you'll be getting a accreditation or a coaching qualification, and you can do that alongside your teaching job. But it's not really something you would do as a primary school teacher.
Okay.
School teachers do teach swimming, as I said, due to the national requirement, but it's usually people from leisure centres who are swimming teachers who will teach swimming to those children, and those teachers in the school will be there just to watch the children and to be there in the care of the children.
Okay. So another question is in terms of primary in the UK and in France, there are the state system and there's also private schools. Is that something which you have a preference for?
Yeah, well, in England at the moment, the way academics and education is going, we still have the state schools, which are they're like they're funded by the council, and they come under the UK, the government, and they follow the national curriculum. And the way education is going now, we are moving towards maybe a free schools kind of age where we're forming new academies, and they're using the national curriculum to plan most of the maths, English, and science from. But they're having a bit more free choice in how and what they deliver for those foundation subjects. PE at the moment is a foundation subject. So we kind of get a bit more free range and scope in what we actually teach. But we use the national curriculum as a guidance for our planning, our teaching, and our lesson.
Do you have any preference? What sort of school you'd like to teach in?
That's a good question. I haven't really got a preference at the moment, I don't think, no.
Okay.
It's good to keep your options open. I think academy schools are the way everything's moving towards, and I think education is becoming, well, it's becoming more than just what schools are. I mean, education is a way of learning. It's completely adaptable and child-centered, and it's becoming personalised. And I think the way teaching is going to enable that to happen a lot more. So I think academy schools are probably a good way of going about it, and it allows for a bit more creativity within your teaching. But I think there's nothing wrong with the schools that are funded by the council and follow the national curriculum and plan off that, which still allows you quite a lot of scope in those foundation subjects.
And a final question, Rob. Do all the schools where you teach, do the kids have uniforms?
They do. They all wear uniforms. They all have an identity. They have uniforms for sport as well. Some schools I've taught in have house colours. So, for example, they may have 4 different houses or team colours or team names within the school, and they'll belong to that part of that house or colour or team. And they might get a separate uniform to identify them as the red house, or it may be something along those lines.
What's your opinion about school uniforms? It's a question all my French students ask.
Well, I think anything that hasn't got a uniform on in the UK would be seen as a radical change. Personally, I think if children can learn without wearing a uniform, which I believe they can, there isn't a real need to have a uniform. But I do agree with some people and stance and perspective on they have a uniform to identify them as that school with that school emblem, and it helps those children, I suppose, to fit in instead of wearing their own clothes and maybe feel like they're getting judged, for example.
Okay. One last question, Rob. Yeah, I know that you blog and that you use Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Technology for your job and blogging. Can you tell us just a little about why do you do it and why do you think it's important?
Okay, well, blogging and the new digital age is something that is completely new to the vast majority of students, and there's not many students who are taking the opportunity up of blogging or get themselves out there, them to connect and share with other people. And Twitter provides a great platform for you to be able to do that. You can straight away post something and it can be read by anybody across the world. And it's a really powerful way of communicating. And blogging is exactly the same, and it allows you to share and reflect on your practice. It allows you to challenge the thinking of others and respond to those who have blogged as well. And it just provides you with an opportunity to get yourself out there a little bit and engage in some learning that isn't just focused on the learning you're doing at the moment. It can be then focused on somebody else's view, somebody else's perspectives, and you can get a greater understanding by learning across different countries and through different mediums, for example, Twitter and blogging. It provides a really good resource for learning.
Okay. So from what I understand, what would you say to people who are skeptical about blogging? Young trainee teachers, what would you say to them?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest issues I think with blogging is those people who are against blogging. They may be technophobic, so they haven't been shown how to blog, or they haven't been given the resources to blog, or they haven't been told how to blog. And it's usually maybe those people who are technophobia in that kind of way who will then have a little bit apprehensive towards blogging. And pretty much, I think it's all about confidence. I think it's good to get yourself out there. And as soon as you post a tweet or make a blog, you can't take it back. You've got a digital footprint, and then you've expressed your views to the world, as you could say. And anybody could, once it's even been deleted, anybody could get it back up and read it, which could be quite scary to those people. So it's all about e-safety, I guess. It's all about being digitally safe online. But for those people who are a little bit skeptical towards blogging, it's if you, I think the best way to look at it is you only blog something or you tweet something. If you're fully happy and you can accept that actually this is beneficial to me and beneficial to others, and it can't turn around and affect me in any way, professionally or personally.
Okay, that's brilliant, Rob. Thank you very much indeed.
No worries.
That's really, really useful. I've learned masses about UK education that I knew nothing about. It's been a long time since I was a student in the UK, and I've never been a teacher in the UK, so I've learned a hell of a lot. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.